A couple of months ago, I did a video about all the great movie ideas I have and that I desperately want, but will never get made. Sequel time. Because there are still so many ideas inside my head that I'm so sad I'm never going to see on the screen. And like all sequels, it's going to be bigger, longer, and not as good as the original. Am I the only one sick of Disney remakes? Why make something you already made, just not as good? Plus, these remakes seem to be gradually tarnishing the Disney brand, and you would think they'd care about that. But there is hope on the horizon because they are making plans to remake some of the lesser hits that do deserve a second chance. I will be the first in line for the Hercules movie. But many moons before this mining of Disney resources really kicked off, I heard mumblings of what ended up being the Aladdin remake was actually going to be a spin-off with Will Smith's Genie in his own film simply called Genies. The premise being Genie would be going off, having his own adventures, and even meeting up with some of his fellow genies. That sounds amazing! Whole bunch of new characters, each one of them with phenomenal cosmic powers who could do anything they want in the plot. And for anyone desperate for some nostalgic references, they could even bring in Eden, Genie's girlfriend from the TV series. Yeah, he had a girlfriend. A great comedic actress for that would have been someone like Kristen Shaw. But you know, this is fine. The silent film actress Louise Brooks' influence on pop culture has always been understated, but undeniably persistent. Which is understandable. I mean, she's like a goth fairy princess. I mean, she's like a proto-Helena Bonham Carter. And Hollywood blackballing her was a huge tragedy for film. But it's nice she's being rediscovered, and since so many amazing biopics are being made right now, hey, here's an idea. A Louise Brooks biopic! You have everything! You have love, you have loss, you have triumph, you have tragedy! I can imagine a surreal, experimental, dance-based movie that's framed through the interviews that she did later on in life. You know, do a Millennium actress. And considering how both artistic and chaotic Brooks was in her life, she deserves a movie that just around with history. Who are you gonna call? Because you have so many options these days. A franchise this old has so many characters, and when you have different universes, what do? Crossover time! And the main part of crossovers is to see how the characters would interact. Just imagine Erin, Raymond and Abby nerding out over their newest ectomist or full-body apparition. Hutzman and Venkman sharing snarky quips. And maybe Winston takes Patty under his wing. I mean, he does look a lot like her uncle, and shows her that just because she doesn't have the qualifications that the others do, doesn't mean that she doesn't contribute to the group. That she's not just the fourth one. And then at the end, when they're done fighting the big bad of the movie, Kylie Griffin bursts through the door and sets us up for a sequel. But since the ideas in this video aren't meant to end up in theatres, we can only hope that next year we're going to finally get the Ghostbusters sequel we've always wanted. Alice in Wonderland is a story that's been so thoroughly mined of content, the support beams are about ready to collapse. If they haven't already. So what's next? What stories are left to tell? Well, let's roll back. How does the story start? With Alice's sister trying to get her to behave more like a proper young lady. And in pretty much all versions of the story, she's really just there to bookend the adventures of Alice. But here's an idea. What if Alice really did disappear into Wonderland? And what if she never came back? How would her sister react? Would she simply try to get on with her life as a good Victorian woman? Or would she decide to dedicate herself to solving the mystery of her sister's disappearance, eventually leading to her own fall down the rabbit hole? It would then be a story of a woman so utterly at odds with this imaginative world that she'd have to quickly adapt in order to find her sister, and then would it even be a happy reunion when she does? Is it really one of my videos if I don't shoehorn Pirates of the Caribbean in there somewhere? A year ago I did a video about my rarest OTPs, because I am determined to humiliate myself to death. And one of those was Norrington and Angelica. What we have here is a classic tale. The icy, straight-laced, repressed character meets an adventurous, seductive, swashbuckling type. Just flipped around. It'd be like a gender-reversed version of, oh god. Oh, what's it called? It's a really old film.
Every Douglas Fairbanks movie ever made?
That's it. It'd be a gender-reversed version of every Douglas Fairbanks movie ever made. It'd be just the sort of play around with old Hollywood cliches the series has always liked to do. Switch around the roles of the posturing macho pursuer and the pious and upright pursued. Now, is this just an excuse for me to once again talk about my OTP? Yeah. And even though death is no excuse in this franchise, it's a shame that we'll never get to see all the originals all together on the screen. We'll just have to be satisfied with setting sail with Pirate Captain Harley Quinn. You know what? Actually, So, gender swapping is very popular at the moment, but it tends to only go one way. So, which female-led franchise could work with a gender swap? Yes, I know Tony's Boys existed, but we're talking about Hollywood here. They only care about brand recognition. And my personal reason for loving gender swaps is just because you get to play around with the aesthetic. You see what you keep, what can be changed, and what stays the same. And a gender swap Charlie's Angels would work best if as much of the original over-the-top vibe was kept. Ridiculous costumes, outlandish situations, and great hair. But who should be our angels? Side note, some of this research made me feel really grubby. I could see Michael B. Jordan being the cheeky fun one who's kind of the unofficial leader. Corey Michael Smith would make a wonderful, no-nonsense straight arrow. Josh Hutcherson would be the bit of fluff who also happens to be amazing at surfing and kung fu. Both of which seem to come in handy so often in every investigation. Along with their Bosley, Kate McKinnon, their main mission would be to take down a rogue angel who's coming after them. Played by Adam Driver. And the voice of Charlie herself? Sigourney Weaver. And I know this is going to expose my ego so much, but I actually really want to go see this movie. And so do you, don't lie. There. Another list of amazing movie ideas that I know I will never get to see on screen. Why Hollywood isn't bashing down my door right now, I will never know. But there is one movie idea that I might get to see. All I have to do is wait. An offshoot movie series of the Rocky offshoot movie series Creed, where Rocky's son Robert trains Adonis's daughter to become a champ. Come on, Sylvester, write the screenplay now. If If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you've got your own ideas for a blockbuster, why not write them down in the comments below? Maybe some Hollywood hack will steal them from there. And if you want to see if this two-parter becomes a trilogy, why not subscribe? Oh, that's right, I just sequel baited.